I'm going to talk to you right now about something that I call the perfect chaos strategy. You see, everyone's trying to predict goals. This one just needs a little bit of chaos. And if you've been watching Liverpool this season, this would have worked amazingly, like unbelievably. And it's called the both teams to score market. And when both teams score, you win. So it's simple, it's fast, it's predictable. The market punishes bad defences. And guess what? It pays you, the trader, all the better for it. Bad defences loses games. There's two things that many football people have said for many years. You'll never win anything for kids, and defence wins championships. But in this market, they will make you money. Bad defences will make you money. That's why Betfair traders love the both teams to score market. You are literally betting on mistakes. Now, if you are new to this channel and these videos, I've put together a series of 10 videos where I have spoken to loads of profitable traders over the years. And if they are a profitable trader, they will be using one of these 10 strategies. So comment the word 10 below and I will send it to you. If you don't know me, my name is Ryan Carruthers from the Betfair Trading Community, where I've helped more people become profitable on Betfair than probably anyone else. I've been at this game for a very long time, for over 16 years now. You do not get that kind of longevity without kind of knowing what you're talking about. So how does it work? Well, the both teams to score market is a market where you are predicting that both teams are going to score. We're predominantly talking about the both teams to score yes market right now. So if both teams score, you win. If they don't, you lose, except you are a trader. Right? So you can trade in and out of it. So just like I mentioned before, if you want those 10 strategies, just drop the word 10 below or the number and I will get those over to you. Now, when I was speaking to a lot of these traders, I asked them why they loved this. And just to mention that this is on the both teams to score yes market. So we need both teams to score. And they said to me that it's fast, it's simple, and it's really good for traders who want consistent movement in the market, because when goals go in, the market moves. And you're not picking winners, they were predicting mistakes. Now how many times have you watched a game of football and you've just known that there is going to be a goal in that game because you can see the way that team are attacking that defence, and it's only a matter of time that right back or that left back or that centre back is just not winning the ball. They're getting skinned by the winger, and it's just a matter of time. You can sense it. And that's what we do here. Now, momentum is going to work for you. One goal can trigger all of this. If it's against the run of play, then it's going to spark the other team to go and do something, to go and attack more, etc., etc. If there's something to really play for, then there is definitely going to be another goal, right? So if we take the example of Liverpool-Man United from this weekend, and it pains me to talk about this game, but Man United scored really quickly against what everybody thought, against the level of what the two teams are at right now. So it created an absolute chaos of a match, right? Arne Slot made some changes and Liverpool ended up with two midfielders, and they were throwing everything at Man United. And guess what? There was a goal. Okay, now there's also really good liquidity in this market, which is something that you are definitely going to need. And with a goal moves the market, so the price will actually shorten. Now, when I'm building out all of these strategies or thinking about a strategy, the first thing, and I'm sorry if you've listened to me talk about this before, but if you have heard me do it and you don't use this, I need to bash you on the head, keep bashing you on the head with it, because you need this in your life. You have to follow on with what I call the what has to happen question. So grab a coffee, grab a piece of paper, and write at the top the market you're going to trade. Both teams to score yes, okay? Now write what has to happen for that to be a profitable trade or a bet, right? I don't actually care. There's a lot of people that talk about, oh, you're not a trader if you don't trade out. And I don't care, right? The goal is always to make money. That is what we want to do. So if you are a bettor or a trader, it doesn't matter. If you start off as a trader and you track all of the gains and find out that actually letting them run would have made you more money, do that, okay? Because you are here, you want to get to here, making more money. The only thing that matters is that we close that gap. Don't care how you get there, whether you trade or bet. Okay, so just let everything fall out of your head. That has to happen for both teams to score. So you are going to need games where the teams score and that the teams also concede. You're going to need that. You're going to need high percentage of goals. All of those kinds of things, right? So then what you're going to do, and I'm going to show you how to find these matches in a second, I'm going to jump into the computer, is you need to pick 2 or 3 key stats that you are going to filter from that point. So many people overcomplicate this. They'll have like 10 or 20 things that they look for every single day in every single match, and you end up with no selections. And this, what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to talk about, and everything there is to cast the net quite wide so that we can get data, okay? Because then we can start to really, really refine our selection process. What a lot of people do is they'll just pick like 5 or 10 things that they need to look for. So they'll be like, right, it's got to have over 2.5 of 80%. There's got to be high home and away goals, all that kind of stuff, and then they never find any games. Or they just don't gather enough data. What I'm suggesting you do is pick 2 or 3 key stats and then cast that net wide and then start to track the match, right? Start to track all of the matches that meet that criteria and then track what happens. So the price of both teams to score, okay? The price of the over 1.5, the 2.5, the home, the away. Track everything that you can think around that. Because one of my most profitable traders, right, he tracked everything around one strategy he was doing, right? One strategy he was doing. And then off the same strategy, because he had all the data, he was then able to add another 2 ways of making money from the same amount of work. One of my most profitable failed strategies, one of my most profitable strategies came from a failed strategy, right? But because I tracked the data, I tracked the things around it. So version 1 was, I'm going to build an over 2.5 goals trading strategy. Just didn't work, right? But what did happen was I built a very profitable over 1.5 goals strategy. The same can happen here. You might have an idea of a both teams to score yes strategy, and just the way that you've worked through it and the way that you've selected those matches, you might end up in another market, okay? So it doesn't matter. Don't beat yourself up about it. Too many traders I know throw the strategy away or they don't track things around it. So I'm giving you some of the things to not do before I start showing you what to do. So let's dive into the computer and I'm going to show you some of those now. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to dive in and show you how I'm going to actually build out the idea of this. Now, this might be different for you. You might have a different way of building it. But remember, you need those 2 to 3 key stats. So the first one that I've actually thought about is the overall full-time both teams to score. So all I've done is come into the software and gone overall, and I've gone for the percentage. And then I have put both teams to score in here. And I've done full time and I've just gone greater than 0. Okay, last 10 matches, and I'm going to just click apply. Okay, what that's going to do is that's going to give me all of the matches that are greater than 0, which is all of them. But what I'm really, really looking for is to start to add in a couple of other stats that really, really stick out to me. So we've got this game here in Finland in the Liiga, and that's actually a league that I really, really like. So what I'm going to start to look at is just a few stats that are going to help me add 2 to 3 more stats to that, because that's probably going to be my main one. And I'm also looking for a baseline there, so I can actually then go back in and change that. Now, the first thing I see, right, with this Turku one is the halftime score. It's actually really, really high. The 0-0 is 35%. This is pretty high. So what I'm going to be wanting to see is goal times. Okay, so I'm going to be looking at like the average goals in the first half and the second half. I'm also going to be checking the overs and the unders. Okay, so over 0.5 goals first half, 65% of the last. The head-to-head's quite high though, like 83% of the last 10 matches. So it's pretty interesting there. Let's look at the just look through scored and conceded so I can see that. Home and away. Okay. First to score. Yeah. I'm just starting to try and build a bit of a picture up now of the game. See when the goals most likely come. And here you can see one of the things that I really do look at is I do look at the average first goal time, because that's really important to me when I'm trading. I'm just going to check this Lillstrom one as well, 29. I just want to have a look at the halftime scores here. So you can see that Norway's a league I know, hence why I went there. Is you can see that just those two games that really stuck out with quite high both teams to score. It wasn't actually the first half wasn't full of goals, which is probably something I'm going to want to add in, okay, for the way that I'm going to do it. So have a look at the overs and unders here. So you see 85. Let's check this one, 95. Okay, cool. So 85. Okay, so right, what I'm going to do now, come back in here, and I'm going to just put this in greater than 55, okay? Add that, but what I am going to look at is the overall percentage, and I'm going to say half one over 0.5, okay? I'm just going to put that to be greater than or equal to, let's go for 70%. Add that, and remove that there, and apply it. Okay, so now I've got a real shortlist now to start to build out some games here. So I have the overall full-time both teams to score in the last 10 matches, and I have the overall, and these are both percentages, the overall half one over 0.5 goals in the first half. So you can really start to see some of these matches. And now I'm looking for maybe like one more stat that really helps me. So let me look at the attack stats as well. I want to see like the shots on target per goal. Okay. Okie dokie. So here you can see the total scored and conceded as well. So I'm looking at that. I'm just anything that's going to really sort of stick out to me that is going to help me find an angle on this. Now, unfortunately, we don't have the both teams to score price in the software as of yet, but I'm just going to have a look and start to see. So there we've got quite a heavy favourite. So that might be something that I want to take out. Let's have a look at this Swansea QPR one. See, the prices are all pretty close. Goal times are seeming to be pretty high as well. 22, 29, 25, 27, 27. So we're always looking after 20 minutes. So I might just do something very simple. I might go overall average first goal. Okay, so let's just keep it, let's say 20 minutes. Okay, and then I add that in. That might be the very simple way that I pick all of the matches. So what I'd then do is I'd save this. So then every single day I'd be able to come in here and I'd get all of the games that meet this criteria. And I would just click export. It would give me them on a spreadsheet. I'd copy and paste that to my main sheet. I usually use Google Sheets, and then I'd start to track actually what happened in them. So I would find the price of the both teams to score, and then I would start tracking everything around that. And you can see that today is the 22nd of October when I'm recording this. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 games today. You can see I've got 17 pages of them because I'm able to go 4 or 5 days ahead in the software, which actually really, really does help, because if you can only research your games for an hour a week, you could find them very, very quickly using the software. That's the way that I would be building this. Obviously, other people are going to build it differently, but I would definitely be starting there. And then my idea around this strategy is I am backing both teams to score after 20 minutes, and that's how I would play it. Okay, so now you've looked at the ways of finding the matches and you've got yourself a bit of a criteria list. And if you're using the BTC stats, fantastic, because you'll be able to save those, and then you just be able to get them every single day. You can export them to a sheet, and then you can copy paste them and put them into your main sheet, and you can start tracking everything. Soon you will be able to backtest those as well. I'm very, very excited. One of the things you're going to want to definitely start to check out is the recent stats. What happened in the recent matches? Okay, you're going to want to check them out. Is it high percentage of both teams to score? All of those kind of things. Now, you can do that inside the BTC stats. You're not going to want to, so let me caveat that. What you are going to want to do is just start to get a feel for the matches. And if it was me, I'd start grading them of how confident you are in them, and then go back and start tracking that. Remember, we're casting that net wide initially, but the more data that we can add around our ideas and our hypothesis, the better. You're also going to want to look at the odds. So value needs to be included. But what a lot of people get so het up about with value is that, oh, you have to have value from day one, otherwise this isn't going to work. But you haven't got a clue, right? I've seen so many traders write off a strategy because they didn't think it had value from the start. Okay, so they just threw it away. Now, if you're tracking the odds movement and you're tracking both teams to score yes at the start of the match, 10 to 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, all those kinds of things, you're going to start to see some points where value might happen. And this has actually happened, right? I spoke to a trader inside of the community who traded the both teams to score market, and he kicked himself because initially he was like, there's no value, I cannot find the value, it's not there. I had a conversation with him and was like, look, break down everything you're doing. Show me the games that you are finding. And I said to him, but there's goals in those games. And he's like, yeah, but the both teams to score, the both teams to score market is just not great from the start of the match. And I was like, okay, well, let's have a look at some of these games. So I had a look through his sheet and was like, the average first goal time on all of these matches is 28 minutes. Why are you bothered about entering at the start? Why are you not entering at 20 minutes when you get more value? And then you are able to work out, you can use things like strike rate calculator to tell you what the odds would need to be, and that's free, strikerateCalculator.com, to see what the odds would need to be to break even. So then you can see if you're getting value or not. And you can also then start to do some really, really cool things with turning the odds into percentages and what actual implied odds should be, and then you can see if there's a difference there from your modeling. Okay, so you can do all those kind of things, but I'm not going to cover that on this video. Now, then we talk about the exit. Okay, now when one goal has gone in, you can exit. You can trade out, take a profit and move on. Some might want to wait. Now that is on you. I would track both options and see which is most profitable. Okay, is it like trading out or is it staying in? Now remember, I'm going to say this again, I've already said it once in this video, making money, finding games and opportunities is the goal. Okay, I don't care if you are betting or you are trading. Okay, I know this is called Betfair Trading Community, but so many of our members use our software to find bets, and they want to build a set and forget strategy because they are busy, they have a wife, they have kids, they have all of the things that go on in life. Okay, so they cannot sit and trade on a weekend, on an evening, because they have commitments. And this is why when I talk about that what has to happen question, Okay, and this is like a little bit of secret sauce that I've saved to this far in the video so that only the serious people have got to it, is when you build your what has to happen question, you build the strategy the way that you can actually trade it. Okay, so there's always been, people have always gone, oh, I want a strategy that works. But two people will never trade the strategy the same way, because they have different mindsets. They have different everything, different beliefs, different false beliefs, different negative voices in their head. But also they have different time commitments. So when you are building out your strategy, build it in a way that suits you and your life. That is probably the biggest differentiator between success and failure. Not finding value, not understanding how trading works, actually giving yourself a chance to make this work. I've seen so many traders over the years try and build a strategy that they will never be able to trade, get disheartened, and then quit. I've had traders say to me things like, oh, I want to scalp the horses. Okay, cool. Well, you know that most horse racing is on between sort of 12 and 5 in the day. Can you sit at a computer for that? No, I work. I can't do that. Why do you want to scalp the horses then? You can't do that. Yeah, well, in the summer, there's some evening races. Yeah, okay, you're going to spend every evening learning to scalp. Why don't you just build a strategy that works for you? Okay, so just do that. So that's one of the big mistakes. Now, another one of the mistakes is actually backing this in defensive leagues. So there's certain leagues like France Liga 2, Serie B, where this isn't going to work as well. Now, what I would definitely start to do is not worry about that too much yet. Gather 200-300 lines of data and start to see which leagues are underperforming. Because once you've got your data, the goal with all of this is then to get this data and then refine it into a profitable strategy. So you can actually look at the winners and see what they have in common, and the losers and see what they have in common. And then that's the version 1.1, okay? So then we try and refine it again and again and again. So we have a really good, solid strategy that we're confident in, okay? Another mistake is entering matches with really heavy favourites who dominate possession. So think Man City, okay? Or Arsenal, for example. They don't concede. Well, they're not conceding many goals at all this season, which is a pain. Okay, also ignoring game context, dead rubbers, right? Cup rotations. That just absolutely kills your edge. I also really don't like red cards. I've never liked red cards in football matches because it's just wild. You never know what's going to happen. And sometimes teams actually play better with 10 men. They all galvanize, they get stuck in, and they work together better as a unit. And I just get out if there's a red card. Now, why this works long term is that goals bring volatility, okay? And with that brings opportunity. So you can see if a goal goes in a game, then the game can open up. You also have multiple angles with this, okay? You can back late or you can do a partial cash out. So this is another one of those angles. You might find just the way that you pick your games, and try and keep trading as simple as possible, right? We had a trader in Betfair Trading Community who was trying to find an over 1.5 goals strategy, okay? He picked games and he was like, right, okay, cool. He tracked them for 200, 300, 400, 500 games and it just didn't make any money. And he's like, God, you know what? If I'd have just laid that and said, no, there's not going to be over 1.5 goals, I would have made loads of money. That's the number one strategy he does. He makes very good money just doing that. So your failed strategy, flip it on its head. It might actually work. It might not. You don't know, which is why you need to keep an open mind. Too many people get so het up on so rigid. They're so rigid where you need to have rigid flexibility on where you get to, okay? Rigid on 2 or 3 things that you pick that are your criteria for the games that you're going to pick, and then you're flexible on how you're actually going to get there to be profitable. Also, it plays into human error. You are literally betting on defenders making mistakes, which happens in every single game. Okay, goals are usually a great player doing something unbelievably special, two good players doing something good, or a defender making a mistake, or a combination of all of them. It's also perfect for traders who want momentum and they're not just preying on, oh my God, is there going to be a goal? Now, if you want more strategies, remember, if you comment the word 10, I'm going to give you all of the 10 strategies. I'm working my way through them, so they might not all be out yet, but I think there's maybe 5 or 6 on this sheet, so I'll give you them. Comment the word 10. And remember, hit subscribe, drop a comment as well. Let me know what strategy you're working on right now, what you want, what the 2 or 3 criteria that you use to pick those matches. I read and reply to every comment. Okay, how many other channels bloody do that? But I want to help you. We're actually building this community here because I'm literally recording this to my phone right now. Just stood to my phone. This is quite lonely. Like I'm imagining who I'm talking to, and they're the people that comment on my videos. They're the ones I'm doing this for. So if you comment, it allows me to get an idea of who you are, of what kind of strategy you're building, so that I can make even better videos for you. And maybe I can even then reference that in a video. So that has happened before. It's really important for me, and it's helped me a lot. Somebody's had a conversation with me, and when I've gone through creating the video, I've actually used their idea or their comment as an idea for the video, and then they've messaged me and gone, oh my God, that's amazing. So just comment, you know. And if you want more, if you want the strategies, if you want the software that we use, just subscribe to Betfair Trading Community. It's in the link. Sign up. The first month is half price. We will help you, and just enjoy what you're doing. And more importantly, guys, keep it simple.